Hello everyone, I am Bruce, and welcome to another video on Congress Weekly. Thank you for tuning in. Several topics to cover, and I won't go into a lot of detail on each one, just enough to give you an idea of what is going on. The proposed bills in Congress are picking up quickly, with the majority of them being submitted by Democrats. But before I get into what Congress is doing, I would like to recap what the Supreme Court decided the last week of February of 2021. Only 3 Supreme Justices wanted to hear more about what took place as far as changing the voting rolls in Pennsylvania. The outcome this time around wouldn't have changed the results, but what about next time? The Pennsylvania Supreme Court overruled the state legislators. That goes against the Constitution. Now, you can say the Pennsylvania Supreme Court can override the legislators, but when the law is in black and white, and for the United States Supreme Court to turn a blind eye to it, this becomes troubling. My opinion, this goes against For the People. If you recall, the issue was allowing to count mailed-in votes 3 days past the voting in-person date. And while I'm on the subject of this, the U.S. Supreme Court, Republicans are pushing forward with a bill and an amendment to the Constitution to limit the number of Supreme Court justices. Nowhere in the Constitution does it cover how many justices there should be. Now, just a brief summary of House Resolution 1, which is a change in the voting process. Without going into detail about it during this video, 222 Democrats in the House have co-signed this bill. Why? Well, for good reason. They know it favors the Democrats in all upcoming elections. If I were a Democrat in office, I would vote for it as well. Once it clears the House, it then has to be voted on in the Senate. More on this bill when it picks up steam. You may have heard on the nightly news lately that there is online chatter about potentially bombing the Capitol during the upcoming State of the Union. Thus, the reason to keep the fencing up and added National Guard. This intelligence is coming from chatter among extremists. Because of what occurred on January 6th, out of caution, the Capitol Police, along with the National Guard, will maintain enhanced security posture. A date for the address hasn't been set, and it doesn't need to be. All the Constitution says is for the President to address Congress from time to time. Another part of the January 6th riot that took place at the Capitol isn't receiving coverage, or very little of it. Let's think about it for a minute, and keep in mind I am in no way in favor of what happened and hope to never see it happen again. There were reports of some groups planning ahead of time what took place at the Capitol. The rioting actually started approximately 20 minutes before the now former president was even finished speaking. I also heard there could have been close to 2 million people there to hear the president and others speak. Of that group, a smaller portion of them went to the Capitol grounds, and then there were even a smaller number of people who actually entered the Capitol. There is video of people just outside of the entrance causing chaos, but again, it was a smaller number. So it is unfair to think that everyone there to hear the former president speak was looking to break into the Capitol and cause damage or worse. In the end, people did die, including a Capitol police officer, and that should have never happened. A civilian was shot and killed by a Capitol police officer, and there is very little being said about that incident. Hopefully, that is being investigated as well. Overall, it was a sad day in America when some Americans breached the Capitol to include breaking windows to gain access. This is not the American way to protest. In other news, just this past week, the United States retaliated for attacks that were done in Iraq. Some in Congress complained that the president didn't ask for their approval to declare war. Perhaps those in Congress were just trying to receive some free airtime over the media outlets. The president was not declaring war, not even close. According to Article 2 of the Constitution, he is the commander in chief of the armed forces. I think we will know when war would need declared. Also, some on the Democratic side, which is a bit surprising, want to change that the commander in chief, in other words, the president, has the sole authority to launch nuclear weapons. The proposal I have heard was it should require the president, vice president, and the Speaker of the House. Let's see if this discussion goes any further. I can think of one scenario where if you took the time to get all three on the phone, that it might be too late to respond. Many of you have been following the latest $1.9 trillion COVID relief package. The biggest discussion about it, the House left in the bill to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. My opinion, this was done for two reasons. Please some in the House that it is in there, and to force the Senate to take it out or have the vice president overrule it to keep it in. It most likely will be taken out of the bill, so the vice president isn't put in that position. Some stats you should be aware of if it were to stay in the bill and pass, or a separate bill is introduced, what the cost would come to. By raising the minimum wage from $7.25 to $15 an hour by 2025, it would cost the economy about 1.4 million jobs. On the plus side, it would lift 900,000 Americans out of poverty. As much as this is a plus, you know what happens when you make more money. You pay more in taxes. So why are the Republicans overall not happy about this relief package? For one, according to Congressman Mike Kelly, only 9% of it covers COVID health spending. With $68 billion from the previous relief packages still available, this new bill sends $130 billion more to schools without requiring them to offer in-person learning. This bill also includes $350 billion more to the Coronavirus Relief Fund, which still has $46 billion still in it, effectively turning it into a slush fund for poorly run states that had budget problems long before COVID-19 arrived. Previously, I covered Senate Bill 171, which is to reinstate the XL pipeline. That was introduced by a Republican, so it'd be interesting to see if it picks up any Democrats along the way. Since the president canceled this project by executive order, many people are still up in arms over it. We haven't heard public comment about this topic from the Prime Minister of Canada after he spoke with the president, but what we don't know is what was said in private. The Democrats in the House have introduced H.R. 350, known as the Domestic Terrorism Prevention Act of 2021. This proposed bill establishes new requirements to expand the availability of information on domestic terrorism, as well as relationship between domestic terrorism and hate crimes. The domestic terrorism components of Department of Homeland Security, Department of Justice, and the FBI must jointly report on domestic terrorism, including white supremacist-related incidents or attempted incidences. I am all for this bill, just as long as it includes any peaceful protests that turn violent and people end up hurt or killed and or businesses are broken into. The goal is justice for all. A proposed bipartisan bill, Senate Bill 98, known as the Neighborhood Homes Investment Act, is one I will cover in more detail as it moves through the Senate committees. It sounds promising, and it is great that it has bipartisan support. From initial reports that I have read, it appears this bill will provide neighborhood revitalization funding for those housing areas that meet the qualifications. Finally, let's not forget about a bill that was introduced to strip presidents, current and former, of amenities if impeached twice. Interesting that twice was chosen. Why not once or 3 times? Once this bill picks up momentum, I will provide an update. Well, thank you for watching. Once again, a lot going on, some right in front of us being reported via the media, while other bills have been hiding in the background until the appropriate time. If you like my videos under Congress Weekly, please click the thumbs up and subscribe. You can also leave your thoughts by using the email address shown below at the bottom of the screen. Until my next video, please be safe.